So before we can wire up the turbo mod, we're going to need to bring this back up to spec. The meter isn't working, and as well as a couple of other things. Yeah, there you can see really cheap meter, which unfortunately is glued to the front panel. I think all that I can really do with this is kind of chip away at it with a knife or something. It's the casing is too big to come through the hole forwards, so I'm going to have to cut it off the front panel. So you can see lots of bits of broken plastic in there. So even if I wanted to try and fix this, I couldn't. So luckily I have this one, which I was going to put into my machine, but decided on the other style meter, and I'm going to have to make a bigger hole. Unfortunately there's no plus or minus markings on here, so I'm just going to get rid of this meter, and then we'll use a continuity tester just to see which one of these goes to positive, and then we'll test the new one, make sure everything's working okay. So it's labelled positive here on the board at this point, and it's not that one, it's that one. Okay, it works, although it looks drastically off by there's a 20k resistor feeding that old meter, so we're going to have to put in a 5k trim pot so that we can calibrate the meter, make sure what we see is what we get on the display. So think about mounting this. I like to keep it quite central to the original hole, although yeah, it would be really nice to see the text. We can't really lose the text. Okay, wish me luck. Okay, so it turns out you actually need to mount these switches before you put the front panel on. It's a good design though, it means you don't see these ugly washers and bolts. And if you're wondering, the reason why I have tape on the switches is to hold in the stop locks and make them sure they don't fall out, ruin your day. Okay, so we got the meter in, just a few millimeters to spare, and I did actually break a switch which was glued in with the same stuff as the display, so I had to put a new switch in. So another issue with this machine was when you inserted it into the mix, it would rise 4 dB in level on the return. So the person who owns this did some digging around and found that there was some 15k resistors which feed into the VCAs, and if you change those to 27k's, then you'll get unity gain. This must be an old version board, because one of these resistors is even in a different orientation. So the idea is I'm just going to heat each end and gently ease them out the hole, and then I'll use some solder braid just to clean up the hole so we can put the new 27k resistors in. So the main reason I want to try this turbo mod without removing any boards is this Gssl, for example, has the gunk all over where they've soldered the wires onto the board, so there's no way we're going to be able to rip all that gunk off without damaging something. So I think the easiest way is just to insert into the wires and use heat shrink to tidy it up. So here we go. Okay, so they came out nice and cleanly. Now it's just to put the new resistors in. So now we're going to install this variable resistor. All I've done is join the wiper arm to one of the legs, and then this can just fit straight into place where the resistor goes. As this meter doesn't come with any backlight, I just soldered an LED to the LED terminals, which gives a nice glow to the screen from the front. There's a trim pot on the top of the meter here which we use to zero the meter. The unit is on and in bypass mode, so we just adjust this to 0. It's a good idea to look from the front to make sure from the front angle is correct. So we'll apply a test tone to show minus 10 dB, and we can then adjust threshold, and if I'm looking at this what's on Pro Tools, we bring it down, say 10 dB, so we know that that is now 10 dB less, and we can now adjust the meter to show the same reading. It's a little bit tricky with this camera here, but find out which way we need to go, and no, there we go, and take this up to show 10. Again, you want to make sure you look at it from the front. Okay, and let's try a different setting. Let's try 5 dB. Yep, that matches. Or if we go higher, minus 15 dB. Great, the meter works fantastic, with a nice red glow too.